Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about, once again, as I like to call him, the man, the myth, the legend, Warren Buffett. And in this video, he's made some recent moves that we're going to be discussing, and that includes some huge stock purchases and some consistent stock purchases. So we're not just talking about a one-time purchase or a one-time lump sum purchase. We're talking about dollar cost average from many days of just purchasing every single day. So this is a stock that Warren Buffett has to be bullish on in the upcoming future, whether it's short-term or long-term. With Warren Buffett, it's almost 100% going to be long-term. He's a long-term investor. That's just how it is for him. And we know that Apple is one of his biggest positions at the moment, but keep in mind, this is not a purchase for Apple stock. So, interesting enough, regardless, anytime Warren Buffett makes a move, and especially a significant move like this, I think it's at least important to pay attention to it, and also maybe ask yourself, why is he making these decisions? What does he see in this stock, in this company? And why does he think it will grow in the future? So as always, if you do enjoy news videos like these, where I talk about various topics in the stock market, please make sure to smash that like button. It just takes a few seconds, but it really does help me out. So just addressing a few recent events with Warren Buffett, many of us know already that Warren Buffett did sell airlines when it was at a low point just a few months ago. So let's go ahead and check out Delta Airlines and see how that's performing so far. Just out of curiosity, as you can see, it's up about 2.30% for the normal market hours, minus 0.48% in the after hours. For the weekly, Delta Airlines is actually up like a pretty solid amount, plus 8.58%. Maybe people's outlook is starting to get a little bit better around the whole Rona situation. This growth is actually pretty interesting to see, considering how prominent the worry is over the Rona situation right now. So that's interesting nonetheless. Over the past month, minus 1.91%. Past 3 months, around 24-25% in growth. And then for the past year, it is still at minus 53.92%. So Warren Buffett has sold airlines. Delta Airlines was one of his positions. He owns some other airline stocks as well. But so far, for the past year, this stock has taken a huge hit. And it could be a long, long time before we see a recovery. As we know right now, tech stocks are just huge. It's like the next wave for many investors right now, just because a lot of these tech companies are able to be profitable regardless of the current Rona situation. So I have to admit, tech stock performance, even like with Apple stock, that's another large holding in Warren Buffett's company. I think Warren Buffett has already like quadrupled his initial investment on Apple, which I'm not surprised with, considering that this stock is up plus 274, almost 275% just in the past 5 years. So this has been a really solid performer, and Apple has been one of the best examples of how tech stocks can still excel in a situation where other sectors of the economy and businesses are really struggling. So in my opinion, at this point, it seems like the tech sector is almost foolproof. Now, don't get me wrong, there can be some things that could really negatively impact the tech sector, of course, like Congress rules and stuff like that. But at this point, tech has proved that it can excel in a situation like this, whereas other businesses such as airlines, vacation stocks, restaurant stocks, and everything like that are really struggling. So it seems that the companies that offer a physical good or a physical service are struggling in comparison, of course, to big tech companies that really gain a lot of their money from cloud services and just a lot of digital content, ad revenue, of course, digital programs and things like that, where there's, for one thing, crazy gross margins, and another thing, their digital services. So it's not really impacted like the physical services are. So there's a really huge advantage to tech right now. But I'm just saying this as an example in comparison to like Delta Airlines and those others that are really struggling, whereas tech is performing pretty well regardless of the situation. And I think that's pretty interesting, and you'll understand why I'm mentioning this in just a few minutes, because I am going to compare it to Warren Buffett's most recent purchase. And with that being said, let's go ahead and check out this article. And this is an article by Business Insider and author Theron Mohammed, and this article states Warren Buffett plowed $2.1 billion into Bank of America in 12 days. Experts warn it could be years before he sees a return. So first off, we had this big piece of information that not only has Warren Buffett been putting money into Bank of America for the past few days, but it's actually very recent as well. It's not just within the July date. We're talking about an investment in August as well. And you'll see that as we get further into this article. So I did do a video already talking about how Warren Buffett has put a lot of money into Bank of America stock, but with that video, we didn't know that he would be continuing to invest in this stock daily, even after the date of that upload. And then another notable thing about this article title here is that it mentions experts warn it could be years before he sees a return. So we've seen this situation with Warren Buffett in the past. I mean, this person is known for the famous quote of "be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy." So yes, it's saying experts could warn it could be years before he sees a return, but that's kind of like his motto. Warren Buffett likes to pick up stocks and companies that he believes are undervalued. So anytime Warren Buffett does make a move, it's likely going to be a controversial one because that's just his investment strategy a lot of the times, is to pick up stocks that have a bearish outlook for the majority of people, but ones that he believes has opportunity for the long term. So let's get farther into this article. We've addressed the title just a little bit, so let's see what they have to say about this and also some additional information about these plays. Right here it mentions a few talking points that state Warren Buffett bought $2.1 billion worth of Bank of America stock over 12 straight trading days. And it also states it could be years before the billionaire investor and Berkshire Hathaway chief sees a material return, expert said on Wednesday. He could buy it for another 12 days. He can't really fix the headwinds that are challenging the banks, according to CNBC contributor Joe Terranova. And then it also states Wells Fargo analyst Mike Mayo said on NBC's Trading Nation that Buffett is on the right track as bank stocks could rebound 50% over the next 18 to 24 months. And then this really gets farther into his purchase strategy, so it actually addresses this, and this is the new piece of information, noting that he continued to buy even after the month of July. So it states right here, Warren Buffett shelled out $2.1 billion on Bank of America stock over 12 consecutive trading days, boosting his stake in the banking giant to almost 12% as of August 4th. And then it states, however, he may have to wait years for a meaningful return, according to experts. And as it says right here, Berkshire is Bank of America's biggest shareholder, and Bank of America is the second largest holding in the company's stock portfolio after Apple. So Apple is currently the largest holding in Warren Buffett's portfolio. So there's that big tech connection that we've talked about. And then it also mentions some talking points about Bank of America's interest income being under threat from the Federal Reserve's unprecedented efforts with the U.S. economy. So that's with like lowering interest rates, and with lower interest rates comes less profits for the banks, of course. And then it proceeds to talk about that just a little bit by mentioning the Fed's out here saying we're going to adjust our inflation target. You're going to see low rates for a very, very long time, he said. So that's another talking point as well with Bank of America. And that's something that we've heard with the whole J. Powell situation, where they've basically said they're going to continue with these very low interest rates for a significant amount of time. We're talking about far into 2021. And then it also states right here, there's a new valuation normal for bank stocks, and I think you're at it right now, according to Weiss. So keep in mind, these are just some opinions. These are not like set in stone facts. This article does have a lot of opinions in this one. And so like I said, this article has a lot of opinions, so I skipped down to this point right here where it shows Warren Buffett's Bank of America buying spree daily purchases versus the stock price. So it shows these purchases versus the stock price. The line right here, the dotted line, is the Bank of America stock price, and these bars right here are the Bank of America purchases, and those are in millions. So 200 right here, that would be 200 million, 300 million, and so on. So as we can see right here, 722 was the biggest purchase for Bank of America. That was a little over $300 million. That's when the stock price dipped just a little bit after this incline upwards. And then on 723, that was the lowest purchase in millions for the stock price. That's when the stock price was around $24.50. And then they continued to purchase throughout. Of course, we had this $25 stock price where the stock price actually went up significantly to this $25.25 marker. And so there was around a $200 million purchase into it at that price marker. And then pretty much what we're seeing here basically on this chart is dollar cost averaging, and that's just what Warren Buffett is known for. So the valuable part of that article is not really all of the opinions and things like that, but basically the facts discussing that Warren Buffett has basically been purchasing Bank of America stock pretty much since the last 10 days of July, and then also through August 4th. So that includes August 1st, August 2nd, August 3rd, August 4th. So he has been purchasing these shares consistently in dollar cost averaging as as well. So for him to be buying this much, it seems like he does see a lot of long-term value in this company, and he must think that it is a little bit undervalued. So let's go ahead and check out this stock. As you can see, it is currently at $25.44. The weekly, it is at plus 2.05%. For the monthly, it is up 9.28%. And I have to admit, I would say some of this in the past month is simply because of the news that Warren Buffett is buying it. I don't know what this would look like naturally without the news of Warren Buffett buying it, but I honestly think that some of the increase lately has just been because of the Warren Buffett news. So keep in mind, the stock is still down 10.45% for the past year, and it's still up at this low point 42.04% for the past year. And at the most recent peak on February 14th, this stock was up 94.58%. So at its peak, this stock was still performing pretty solid. And just a few facts that weren't mentioned in that most recent news article. It was recently announced that Warren Buffett is actually allowed to increase his stake in Bank of America up to 24.9%. And I don't believe that investors are usually allowed to own that much of a company. However, it was allowed in this situation. So if he wants to continue buying, he has the option to do so. He's only currently at this 12% stake, I believe, but if he wants to keep raising that stake, then he has the opportunity to do so up until that 24.9% marker. And then also connecting back onto what we were discussing earlier with the tech stocks, yes, I feel like Bank of America is an okay company, but when I think about an ideal stock for growth in the long term, I don't think of Bank of America. And that simply just goes back onto the tech sector. Yes, there are some advantages to banks, like I said, with the interest rates and stuff like that, but when you have a situation where the economy is not going so well, those interest rates get lower, that equals less revenue for the banks. So in my personal opinion, and keep in mind, my opinion doesn't hold as much water as Warren Buffett. This is a man that has elevated his career through high quality investment decisions over time. So I'm definitely not dissing Warren Buffett or anything like that. I'm just giving my personal perspective on the situation. I would be more of an investor focused on long-term high quality tech stock. So I honestly think that even with Apple stock being at its price tag, clearly Warren Buffett loves Apple stock. He realizes all of the growth that it's seen so far. Honestly, I would much rather just put that money that you would put into Bank of America stock and just put it into Apple stock for the long term. Now, you may see some pullbacks within the next 1 or 2 years with Apple because it has gone up so much recently. Now, I'm not saying that's a sure thing. I still think that this company can grow significantly in the future, just given the fact that they have so much cash on the sidelines if they do want to acquire another company or conduct some research and development on a new product. But just given the fact that Warren Buffett already owns this stock, it has performed well for him so far, and it just has a good business model, I would just much prefer putting more money into Apple stock rather than Bank of America. I feel like there's a lot more potential for growth out of Apple stock in the long term than there is with Bank of America. Now, I'm not saying Bank of America is a bad decision, but in my personal opinion, I believe that there are much better options out there for the long term, even fitting that long-term perspective that Warren Buffett has with the stock market, that would be more ideal in terms of providing more growth in the long term in comparison to what Bank of America may do. I feel like there's just a lot of risk with Bank of America, even at its low price tag right now. I mean, if we look at the long-term stock price of Bank of America, the maximum time range, this is one that dropped significantly in the '08 crash. As you can see, it went from like $54 per share all the way to this low point of like $3.79 per share. So this stock has proven itself to be one that can take a hit in a bad economic situation. We've seen this with the most recent crash, and we especially saw this way back in 2008 where it dropped way down. I mean, imagine this. It dropped down from like $55 per share to $3.79 per share, to about $4. So imagine if you had thousands of those shares and pretty much lost like 90% of your money. Now, I'm not saying because we saw that in 2008 that it can happen in the future, but I just think that a lot of promise is more into these tech stocks for the long term. I think the future is tech. But that's just my opinion. I just wanted to share this news with you all and update you all on the fact that Warren Buffett is continuing to buy Bank of America stock right now, even past the month of July. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to smash that like button. And also feel free to sign up to Robinhood and Webull in the description below. And if you sign up with my referral link, then you can get some free stocks. And especially with Webull right now, you can get up to 60 free stocks depending on how much you deposit. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.